because Vera set off to walk from her home in Cork to Dublin to meet the Minister for Health, Simon Harris, last year, and he intervened, and Vera got to meet him. And today she met the Minister for Health for the fourth time.
That's right.
And all the meetings are about Vera's 6-year-old daughter, Ava, who has Dravet syndrome, which is an extreme form of untreatable epilepsy. Now, I watched the footage of Ava having a seizure there at lunchtime. It's very disturbing. How many seizures would Ava have in a day?
Well, Ava used to have, I suppose, it would vary a lot, but Ava could have, at times, she would have had 23, 24 seizures like that one, or more violent than that one, in a day. Okay. It has changed dramatically since we began Charlotte's Web, the CBD oil, the cannabidiol, last October. Her seizures being reduced down by, I'd say, between 80 to 90%, and the only change to our medication would be the introduction of the CBD oil.
Now, the CBD oil it's available from health stores.
Yes, it is.
So it's not a medicine or a drug as such.
It's not a registered medicine in Ireland, but it certainly is a medicine in terms of what it's done to change Ava's life.
Okay.
Her seizures have gone down to probably 4 or 5 a month. Her teachers in school have said that they've noticed more than a dramatic improvement in her engagement with her peers at school and the other students. They say that she's made more progress since last October than she had done in the previous 2 years at school. So I suppose that's a tremendous thing to have achieved.
Yes, yeah. And it must be great for you as a mother to see that improvement.
Oh, it's a different world. I mean, just to say to you, I suppose, every winter we would have spent probably, 2 months probably between October and January or February inside in hospital, if not even more.
And why just winter?
Well, because her immune system is very low.
Oh, I see.
So she'd pick up infections and bugs, and 'tis just an example, I suppose. But in the winter time, she might get a lot more seizures because she'd pick up more bugs, and the seizures would be triggered by a high temperature, you see then.
What you want from the Minister for Health is legalised medicinal cannabis.
What we want from the Minister is the opportunity to gain access to medicinal cannabis, preferably on prescription from our doctor, from our consultant or GP, from the people that are caring and that care about Ava. Excuse me, we are in a situation at the moment where the CBD oil that has made this tremendous alteration to Ava's life is only available in a health shop as such. Now,
how much does it cost a month?
It costs 300 odd euros a month, and the supply would last about a month.
So where is it now? I know other countries like Australia have legalised cannabis for medical reasons. That's right, in the last couple of days. No, they legalised it last year, but now they've legalised the importation of it. So they're changing the...
Oh, I see. I didn't know that.
They're changing the laws all the time.
Okay, yeah.
So in your first meeting then, what did you say to Simon Harris?
The first meeting that we had with him?
Yes.
My goodness, that was... I suppose we were saying to him, we were outlining to him the fact that Ava has gone through 11 different forms of medication to treat her seizures. All of them have failed. Over the time, we explained to him the seriousness of Ava's seizures. Like, for example, in November of 2015, Ava had 18 seizures in 9 hours. Right. That would be the seizures that we had to put up the other day on the television. And she suffered a heart attack after that many seizures. And
the fear is that...
The fear is that will come back.
And that Ava won't come out of one of them.
Exactly. That's what you're living with daily, that you see. You're praying that she'll come out quick of it, come out of the seizure quickly, because if she's oxygen deprived for long enough, she could be brain damaged and many other things, yeah.
Your husband's name is?
Paul.
Paul. I met Paul outside. Can I ask you about the chats you had with Paul before you allowed TV3 to show that video footage of Ava having a seizure?
we have been we were asked on a number of occasions would we put up Ava's seizure, and I said no because
Who
I
asked
felt
you?
that the news station asked, and I said no because I didn't want to expose Ava. I didn't want to. You want to keep the bright side out. You want to try and show what she is when she's good, to show people what she can be when she's got the CBD, and show her smiling and everything like that. But the thing was that we're month after month after month, we've contacted all the political people, we've talked on the radio, we're talking to yourself now, the newspapers. Her picture has become well known to people out there, but we weren't getting anywhere, and we really, we were really at the last straw. I don't know what more I can do. We were so worried about her that we came to the conclusion that we discussed it. We said, what would Ava think later in her life if she looks back and she sees this? But the thing is, if we don't get this medication for Ava, she might go into another seizure tomorrow and she'd never come out of it. And that would be worse for a parent than to, maybe expose and let people see what she goes through on a daily basis, to let people see that she could have 23 or 24 of those seizures in a day or a day and a half, and that's why I need it.
Yeah, it's harrowing to watch. Now, in your meeting today with Simon Harris, did you ask him, had he seen it?
Yes, he did.
And what did he say?
He said he had. Yeah, I think he said he was shocked. But
yes,
that was the general gist. Yeah.
Okay.
So Simon's a
well, he's met you 4 times.
Simon's a great person. Like he's met us 4 times, and like he said to me today, he hasn't met anybody else as many times as he's met us, and we do appreciate that and everything. And I'm grateful. I am grateful. But like our application was we were advised, we had an application in for a compassionate exemption to gain access to medicinal cannabis. Today we were informed that because we don't have a paediatric neurologist applying for us for that application, that it's not going to be successful.
Okay, my understanding
is... And maybe I could just say one thing.
Go on, sorry.
Like, we have tried, we have contacted all of the paediatric neurologists that are in Cork and other places around the country as well. And if there's a paediatric neurologist out there that can help us, would they please come forward and contact us, because that's what they're telling me is stopping us at the moment.
Vera, I don't understand this, and you might clarify it for me. So you're sitting in front of the Minister for Health. He's the boss.
That's what I said to him.
He's the boss.
Yeah.
And he says to you, go and find yourself a paediatric neurologist. And did you not say to him, well, why don't you get me one?
He said to me that the paediatric neurologist is what's blocking us now at the moment. And I said to him that, Simon, I said, look, last June you told us that about the paediatric neurologist. I spent the whole summer doing everything I could to contact the doctors in Cork. It's hard enough to contact your own paediatric neurologist, never mind one that you're not under, if you know what I mean.
Okay, you'll have to explain that to us. So Ava has a consultant, does she?
She does.
Who is a paediatric neurologist?
Yeah.
Well, why can't he or she?
The neurologists state that they do not know enough about the actual.
Okay. Now this is where now we're getting to the bottom.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So there was a report issued, Cannabis for Medical Use report, and I saw Tony O'Brien from the HSE say that there were 3 exceptions, and one of them was
intractable epilepsy,
treatment-resistant epilepsy, which Ava suffers with.
That's right.
Dravet syndrome.
Yeah.
Right, and he did say then strict supervision of medical consultant familiar with the condition. So is that that's the paediatric
Yeah,
neurologist.
we have supervision. That we do have supervision for Eva, but the person who has put in the compassionate exemption application for us is not a paediatric neurologist.
Right.
So therefore, although there is surrounding support from our neurologist, there is not an application after being sent in by a paediatric neurologist, and I don't have one. And I've tried, and I told him today that I spent the whole summer trying to find someone.
So you're trying to convince somebody to put their name to it, and they don't. They're saying that they don't know enough about the long-term effects of cannabis.
Well, you see, then there's a legal situation surrounding the THC part of what we're looking for as well.
You'll have to explain to people what THC is.
THC is the CBD is cannabidiol.
Right.
That's one part of the cannabis plant. There's more than 100 constituents within the plant itself. THC is a separate part of the plant, but you see, the THC is the psychoactive part of the plant, which is the part of the plant that people who smoke it for recreational use are searching for to gain a high.
Right.
Now, that I gather, like, that's why that component of the cannabis plant is illegal. What we are looking for is a product brought in from another country with CBD in it and with a small percentage of THC that does not result in a psychoactive effect for the child, but activates the CBD more effectively to treat the seizures, therefore reducing seizures further, or inflammation or pain.
And that is available in other countries like Australia now.
Yes.
For people like Eva who have Dravet's syndrome.
Yeah.
I suppose the worry for the medical profession is, I'm just guessing, that they don't know what the long-term effects of somebody like Eva, who's only 6.
That's true.
Well, what's the prognosis for somebody who suffers from Dravet syndrome?
But the prognosis for somebody, unfortunately, that has Dravet syndrome is that they probably won't live beyond the age of 10. But the thing is, Ray, when we were brought in and given Eva's diagnosis, when she was 4 months old, we were told she wouldn't live beyond the age of 3. And when she was 3, we were told we weren't going to have her beyond the age of 5. And, you know, it's ongoing. Like, this pressure is ongoing the whole time. Okay. But the statistics are there, and there's friends of ours that have little kids that have Dravet's as well. And, you know, like, as I say, getting back to the winter, it's in the winter time a lot of our kids are taken, you know, because the seizures overcome them.
Yeah, and Simon Harris today, did he say his hands were tied by where it's policy now, or it's because the bill wasn't passed. It was at the first stage, was it, last year?
Did it get to the second stage? I think,
okay.
yeah, in the Dáil that night, the 1st of December, that was debated. The health committee stage is the next phase now for legislation.
Lisa Marie's just told me that we've just got a statement in from the Department of Health which clarifies all this. This is on foot of you meeting Simon Harris today and us putting in for a statement. In November 2016, the Minister for Health initiated a review of policy on the use of cannabis for medical purposes and asked the Health Products Regulatory Authority, the HPRA, to provide expert advice on the matter. On the 10th of February, the Minister published the Cannabis for Medical Use, a scientific review, which we mentioned already. The Minister had an opportunity today to meet Vera Twomey, her husband Paul Barry, along with Deputy Gino Kenny and Deputy Anne Rabbit. During this meeting, he outlined his plans to implement a pilot access programme for cannabis-based treatments in line with the recommendations from the Health Products Regulatory Authority's report for the following conditions, and their spasticity, intractable nausea, and epilepsy, which is untreatable.
Yeah.
So we've mentioned that already. Yeah. Patients accessing cannabis through the programme will be under the care of a medical consultant. We mentioned that already. The HPO report didn't recommend the inclusion of chronic pain in the access programme. However, this position will be kept under review, and if better clinical evidence becomes available in the future, the inclusion of chronic pain can be reconsidered. The Minister has outlined steps he will now take. He probably said these to you already today. The report has been referred to the Joint Oireachtas Committee on Health for consideration. Officials from his department and the HPRA will consult with stakeholders on how the access programme will operate. It will be particularly important to engage with the clinical community in the development of a framework. Officials will advise the Minister on legislative changes that may be necessary to underpin the access programme. Until such time as the necessary legislative amendments has been made to facilitate the implementation of the Cannabis Access Programme, it remains open to the Minister to consider granting a licence to an Irish registered doctor for access to medicinal cannabis for named patients. So, according to that, I'll just read that last line again.
But you need a paediatric neurologist.
Right. So he just said, to an Irish registered doctor for access to medicinal cannabis for named patients.
Well, I don't know. An Irish registered doctor to me would say that it could be
a GP.
Yeah, but they told me in the meeting that our application wouldn't be successful without a paediatric neurologist. So I'm done for. Yeah, I'm done for because I don't have that and I can't get that for Eva.
There is somebody else in this country who has got that, who has gone outside the country. No, but there is somebody who has gone outside the country. So they had the money to travel, and they've got this drug prescribed from an American doctor, and they've come back into the country. So looking at that, you must think, well, that's not fair.
This isn't fair, no.
Yeah, it's not fair.
No,
it's not fair. So where to now, Vera? It is putting that piece of footage up.
Well, what would you do, Ray?
What would I do? Yeah, well, I
because I don't know what to do.
But this is the country we live in, and Jenny says to me, my wife says to me all the time, we have the luxury to do this, that if the same happened for one of our children, I'd be in a plane immediately to a country where what you want is legal. Yeah. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
So you asked me the question, and that's exactly what I would do. You don't have that luxury. No. So where do we go from here?
I think where we go from here is giving the neurologists, the consultants in this country, the opportunity to legally be able to prescribe medicinal cannabis for their patients. So, as I see it,
can I ask you this,
I think that is via Gino Kenny's legislation that he's put forward. And if that legislation was put through as an urgent matter, then the doctors and the neurologists, the pain consultants, would be able then to more comfortably be able to research medicinal cannabis for their individual patients and make a decision based on that.
Okay. So, Ava's paediatric neurologist, what is he or she saying about this?
The Ava's paediatric neurologists are saying that they would not be in a position to prescribe medicinal cannabis for Ava, but they would be able to oversee the use of her other epileptic medications, because Ava is still on epileptic medications alongside the CBD. But of course,
so they can't prescribe because it's illegal.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying that, there'll have to be legislative change made to allow a neurologist the space to be able to consider prescribing it.
Yes.
And they spoke to us today about how, are there consultants, are there doctors out there that are interested in medicinal cannabis? And I can tell you that without a shadow of a doubt, because I've met many of them, people that are doctors that are pain consultants, doctors that are adult neurologists, many other doctors as well, that are eager for this situation to be, changed so that they can consider medicinal cannabis for specific patients of theirs.
I'm going to read that again. It remains open to the Minister consider granting a licence to an Irish registered doctor for access to medicinal cannabis for named patients.
When we began processing our application in November, we were led to believe that the doctor who was putting the application together for us would be able to successfully put in the application. We were not told at that stage that it had to be a paediatric neurologist. We were told back in June of 2016 that we needed a paediatric neurologist, so that's why I spent the summer looking for one. But then in November time, that seemed to change, and that's why the doctor that put the application in for us did so. He's not a paediatric neurologist, he has a different speciality, but today was the day now that it's reverted back to what was said.
A paediatric neurologist, but that doesn't specify that here. It doesn't specify in the statement from the Department of Health.
Yeah. But I mean, honestly, that's what he said to me today. That's what they said was blocking us now, and we went back to that point on several occasions.
Right, that it had to be a paediatric neurologist.
Yes, yeah.
Who's minding Ava today now?
My mother.
It's.
And three more of them. We have Ava, is 7. She's actually 7 since November. We have Sophia 5, we've Michael 4, and Elvira May is 2.
Right. Your hands full.
They're great.
And the last thing you want to be doing is coming up to Dublin and having very emotional conversations with the Minister
Dublin's
for Health.
not where we want to be at all, Ray.
No. Tell that woman to set up a fund. I don't have much money myself, but I'll give her the first 100 to get her on a plane.
Not at all.
No.
We're not looking. Do you know what? We're not looking for donations or anything.
I know you're
like
not.
That.
No, that was
and
me. You asked me what I would do. I know.
I
And there
appreciate
are
that
loads
so
coming in
much.
there.
But you know what it is? Do you know what I want? Do you know what we need? We want justice in our own country for our kids or for the people that need
No,
this.
it shouldn't be the case that I can go. I have to do it,
Like,
and you can't.
I can't leave Habolag with 4 of them under 7 and take off. I can't.
Yeah.
And you know, like, tis the way I feel. If there's people like in Australia now celebrating over the last couple of days because they can get this for their children.
Yes.
If there's people over in Germany that have got this, there's people in Croatia and Poland that can get access to this. Like, if I don't get some kind of an answer for Eva, she's not going to be around, and that's what it comes down to. And that's the thing. I don't know. I think in some respects I probably betrayed Eva by putting out the kind of the footage of her the other night on the TV. But it's come to that, you know, Ray. I've done everything that I can, and Vera, I don't know what more I can do.
Vera, as a parent, you would do anything.
Yeah.
You would do anything. So I wouldn't. Don't beat yourself up over that at all. Were you hopeful today? Did you get the call from him to come up, or?
Well, actually, do you know, I nearly forgot about the meeting actually this week with everything. But what it was, we sought him out one day there back about 3 weeks ago when he came to visit Mallow, and we had about a 20-minute conversation with him that day in Mallow Hospital, and they offered us this appointment then.
Right.
So it kind of came around. It came around quicker than what I expected. But the thing is, I was.
Can I just ask you this question? And I know, because this came from me and not from you at all. But if you were to get on a plane and travel to America or one of the other countries you mentioned, could you get a prescription that you could bring back with you to Ireland?
But sure, you see then, like, aren't you breaking the law by bringing it back into the country?
Right.
Like, if you go over to, I don't know, look, say, okay, go to Australia tomorrow morning to get your medicinal cannabis. THC is still an illegal substance
here,
in Ireland.
Yes. Yeah.
And then how do you bring that back into the country? You know, do you seek a license from the government to bring it into the country? Now, I mean, I will say I tried to get, and I had contacted doctors in another country to prescribe the medicinal cannabis for Eva, but they wouldn't accept that from us.
The Irish government.
Yeah, they contacted me and said that was out of the question. I have tried. I don't think there's any any avenue that I haven't tried for her.
Yeah. It just strikes me because, you know, we've talked, you know, for example, about our Canby on this programme, and other programmes have done it obviously, and we're talking about huge amounts of money, and you can see why there's negotiations ongoing with Vertex, but we're not talking about huge amounts of money here.
I'm telling you, do you know what?
And how many people have Dravet syndrome?
Well, there's a small community in Ireland with
so
it. It's not massive, but
you could easily make a dispensation for.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, you know what? Just solely with the CBD since October, we haven't been admitted to hospital since October. Yes. And that hasn't happened any other winter of Eva's life.
Yeah, there's loads of people offering money there, but that's not what you want at all. You want Simon Harris to allow Eva to get this.
Do you know what? If people wanted to send I don't know, send an email into Simon Harris.
That's the way of doing it.
And say, would he put through emergency legislation so that we can get
I'll tell you what we'll do.
Cannabis
We'll get his email address.
simon.harris@oir.ie.
Give us it again.
Simon.harris.
Simon.harris
at oir.ie.
oir.ie. Right. And we'll just say, I heard Vera, Ava's mother, AVA, on the radio, and please can you sort things out? Just as simple as that.
Just as simple as that. We don't want to cause trouble. We don't want to be a nuisance. But the thing is, like I said to him today, I fierce massing him. I think he's a very nice person to speak to and everything. But Eva needs us.
Yes.
And
how much does Eva know what's going on?
Do you know what I put it to you? Eva is happy. She is like that now. She's 7 since November. She doesn't have she wouldn't have the mind now of somebody that's 7 or 5. I would say maybe we're at around, maybe the understanding maybe about 18 months or 2 years, something like that. You know, she needs constant supervision. But you know, my Facebook page is Vera Twomey, and like there's pictures of Eva up there, and she's happier. She looks better. She's smiling more since we got the CBD.
Right.
Like, she's more part of the family. We were used to Eva being the way that she was, but since we got the CBD, she's able to have a little joke like with Sophia, or run around more after Michael, or just she's laughing. Things are changed completely, and then the seizures come back, and you know. The bother is the CBD could lose its effectiveness, you know, and that's we just need what the other people
I think
got.
That you don't want their money. You want them to get on to Simon Harris to see if he can speed things up, and that's what it's about, isn't it?
That's what it's about. I mean, we have a right to have this in our country.
Okay, simon.harris@oir.ie.
Yeah.
Vera, mind yourself, and keep in touch.
Thanks for having us on this
We're
programme.
always at the other end of the phone line. Okay.
It was lovely to meet you. We used to see you down at the disco in Coachford long ago.
Coachford Hall. House of Pain, jump around.
That's right.
That's not today or yesterday. How long ago is that? Is it about 25 years ago?
I'd say about 10 years ago.
Go on out of that. 51551 for your text. You can send us emails to radioRT.ie.
The radio.